Hey there, guys. It is Rachel Feldman. Hello, good morning, good afternoon for some of you in different parts of the world. In this week's episode of the Healthy Hustle podcast, which means we talk about everything behind the scenes of what it takes to build your signature business. And I can speak from experience because if you did not know, I graduated from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition back in 2010. And I asked myself the same question that everyone asks. How do I choose content for my signature program? Many of you are going live. Many of you are doing workshops. You're doing webinars in this month, and I hope every month thereafter. So what I'm going to dive into in this training is how do you choose a workshop or a live for your webinar, or to make sure that you are building that visibility. So let's just go over some basics. And I actually wanted to pull up a PowerPoint to make it super simple for us to navigate, because it's very hard to pick. It's very hard to pick a workshop, a freebie. It's hard to decide what's going to be your signature program if we don't go over the why are your list builders and your workshops so essential. And what's great about this is when we really get clear on how you can use a workshop to do a live, even if you're scared, to go live and hit that live button on Instagram or Facebook or in your free group that you're building a list, you're going to realize that it doesn't have to be as scary. Or even if you're doing a webinar and you want people to come on, and clearly listen to you so you can bring them to your paid offer, it's not as scary when you have the presentation done. So I want to just skim through this presentation to show you why workshops are really essential. And these workshops, just so I can say it again, can be used in so many ways. If you're a pure introvert, you can use a workshop and use the slides for pre-recorded videos. If you buy one of our workshops, you can actually break this down into mini trainings where you can, of course, either send them to your newsletter list. You can do a series of mini trainings on your blogs, a series of mini trainings for your podcast. You can, of course, use this workshop to do a masterclass once a month, a short, class, or a longer masterclass in your free group. And for many of you, like I said, you're seeing that it's so important to go live, even if you're scared, to build that presence in the online space, to get people either to a discovery call, or to get people to actually just start personal messaging you, direct messaging you, or tagging friends and saying, wow, listen to this coach. Or you want to be able to, of course, like I said, build your authority, get known, get seen, and get hired, which means that you've probably realized, or I hope you do after this workshop, is that people don't just find you. We all are seeing, and truth is, algorithms have always been, unpredictable, or they change. So what I want you to see is through the power of doing a workshop or a live or these presentations, I want you to start building up I want you to start using this content and building up your visibility on platforms that are related to Google and that really are search engine optimization machines, such as YouTube. So I promise you guys, stick with me, even if you are an extroverted person like me, but have a fear of speaking in public, you will get over that fear. And if you are struggling in the online space to get clients, to build your referral network, workshops can also be used so that you have 3 separate distinct topics that relate to your niche and your teaching pillars, so you can approach doctors' offices, chiropractors, wellness centers, places that you want to be visible and to build your authority. So we're going to skim through this PowerPoint so we understand why building our visibility and using workshops, webinars, and doing lives is so important. And so you see that this is really vital for you building a healthy ecosystem, which is your business. So we have 4 phases. And again, we're going to be continuing with this workshop, but I wanted you to understand why I continue to say, get visible, go live even if you're scared. Do a workshop even if you're scared. Present and pitch your offers even if you're scared, because I want you to be visible, and you're not going to just be visible sitting and hoping that somebody lands on your blog or your Instagram post. I want you to be strategic and intentional in your visibility. And furthermore, for many of you who are extremely busy, you need to be even more careful with your time. And so we're going to be showing you some very simple ways to save time, but also to be extremely intentional with what you're doing, not only in 2021, but really every month. So you have your audience building. Then you have your introduction and your nurture. Your audience building is all your list building. And of course, today we're talking about lives and workshops, because we live in such a, we live in an online space right now where people want to get to know you, and they need to get to know you. They need to hear you, or they need to see you on a live, or they need to see your pre-recorded videos on YouTube, so that people build that trust factor and actually opt in to your ecosystem. Your ecosystem, if we think of a funnel, that top are all your list builders. That's the visibility. That's where you're building trust. You're testing with workshops. You're testing with opt-in freebies. So they come in, and then they get to come into this introduction phase, and you get to nurture them in emails leading to your one-on-one, or that webinar on the replay page. Here's your webinar, come and get on the phone with me, or find out about this low-cost program. Or for some of you, they're coming right in and you're introducing them to an opportunity in your membership or your high-ticket coaching. And for some of you, you're going to, of course, take my advice and just even start with going live in intentional places, of course, so people start to see you. They have to consistently see you to actually want to hire you. Just like a kid needs to have a food introduced to them a few times for them actually to eat. That's really the strategy for picky eaters. So what I'm teaching you is the real behind the scenes from my perspective as being a coach that didn't have money for Facebook ads, that did not have a marketing team, that did not have a virtual assistant. I'm telling you how I became an internationally known coach simply by using free tools. And so that's what's so cool about you guys doing a live or a pre-recorded workshop and putting it on YouTube. These are free tools, guys. So then you have your workshop where they actually get to see you. Some of you, this might be a workshop a week. Maybe you're doing it every 5 to 8 for 15 minutes. Maybe for your ideal client, you are doing a weekly workshop. I gave my email because I trusted this one thyroid coach who kept showing up. And so every week he invites his newsletter to hop on a Zoom. And because of that, I've actually bought a product from him because I was so blown away. And for some of you, you of course are going to say, yeah, Rach, I'm going to go live, because you know that you going live on Instagram and then being able to save that as an IGTV, or you being able to go live on Facebook and then downloading that video and uploading it to YouTube. Those are not only game changers, visibility, and plus you are using free tools and you're repurposing your content to create consistency for yourself, consistency for your ideal client. And that is the number one problem I see with so many coaches. So we do those workshops, we do those lives so people get to know us. We're building the trust factor, the know, like, and trust. So then, of course, we can bring them to our signature offers. So we're going to go deeper into this presentation, but I wanted to explain to you these phases. Audience building. This is that introduction, this part of your offering that's free. And this is going to attract people so they actually want to get to know you more. Maybe you have our 5-day no sugar challenge. Maybe you have a workshop, and that's on your Linktree link, the link in your profile for Instagram. And maybe you're using that same link even at the bottom of a blog to say, hey, if you like this blog, come and watch this, come to my free group. We have a masterclass each week, or I go live each week on Thursday. Or maybe at the end of that, you can actually say, hey, watch this video. And maybe you're bringing them to YouTube. And in the description, it actually has that link. If you love this workshop, download this quiz. Or if you really love this workshop on X problem, grab this free gift. So all of a sudden, your blog is leading people to your blog, leading to your YouTube. That video actually in the description leads them to your opt-in opportunity, your free opportunity to come into your ecosystem. Furthermore, you see, we just created a repurposing cycle. If they're coming to your blog, that live that you did or that workshop is put on YouTube in the description. Let me say this clearly again. You can say, hey, if you love this workshop on perimenopause, take this quiz. Click here. If you want to go back to the blog and download my free guide on the test that you need for your hormones, click here. That can be a direct link either to that freebie or back to the blog. It's so simple, guys. You're just giving them the direct access, the freebies that they would want because they just watched this workshop. Think of how much more powerful it is for you to either do a live and be teaching in that live off that workshop, and then use that. You're going to download, we're going to put that on YouTube. I'm actually going to cover that next week. This week, how amazing would that be if you actually had this amazing cycle where you are using your content like a machine and on free tools? So we're going to talk about freebies later, the extent of how you can use freebies. I want to kind of you guys to understand why workshops are really important, because these workshops allow your ideal client to really get to know you. It's one thing when you download, and tell me if you agree. It's one thing if you download a freebie. It's one thing if you download a quiz, but how much more powerful it is if you actually started practicing the muscles that you need to either do a live, do a workshop, do a webinar, and or pitch your services to a professional that you want to get in front of their list so that you can start to build your referral network. The nice thing about workshops, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to take one of the workshops and break this down into chunked phases, is that you actually have then the words and the content that you need. So you're not going to feel anxiety, to the overwhelm of needing to spend hours to research content, find the content, and then teach the content, let alone to pre-market that content, to pre-market that workshop. I saw somebody in our group post and said, nobody came to my webinar. And my first question was, did you actually pre-market it that week? Did you talk about the benefits of your workshop? And most often the answer is no. And that's why I want to stop sharing for a second and kind of address that very quickly so that you understand when I did workshops, when I did a live, and back then, guys, Zoom wasn't around. We had a teleconferencing. You still, even if it's a free opportunity, you need to talk about it before you do it. It's a little different, of course, if you are pitching to a doctor's office, chiropractor, wellness center, health food store, gym, spa, etc. You're talking about the benefit to them exactly via either a phone call or via an email. But the thing is, when you are doing this in a live component, whether you're going live on YouTube, whether you're going live on Facebook, whether you're going live on Instagram, it would behoove you to at least have an event that you created. Step one, an event that you create on that platform that you're going live. Of course, you can't create an event on YouTube, but if you go and you use StreamYard, people can actually get notified and click a reminder. Secondly, you start to actually talk about that workshop. If you are going live on YouTube, you can even say in a newsletter, you can even talk about it on your personal page. You could even swap out a banner on your personal page and say, hey, every Friday or every Tuesday, I go live on YouTube, and swap out for that week's topic. Those topics that you're talking about each week are what? They are setting the stage for your ideal client to understand. If I continue to follow this person, I am going to get educated on these core topics. And the way that you pick out a workshop is you say, I want to be known for being this gut expert. You declare the niche, and then you declare your core teaching pillars. These teaching pillars are probably the most important thing when you're building a business where you want to be known as the expert, because these very teaching pillars are part of your signature process. Let me just say that before we go and look at an actual workshop. Many of you say to me, I don't know what to choose. I don't know what workshop to choose. I'm being told that by my business coach, I need to make a workshop. I need to develop my workshop for my webinar. How do I actually do this? What do I actually pick? Again, step one, you're going to define your niche. Step two is you're going to say, I am a weight loss expert. Let's just do this as an example. And then we'll, of course, find a presentation, a workshop that you're going to be able to use when you go live so that you have the confidence to do it, or the confidence to pitch to a podcast and say, I'm going to come on and teach on X subject because this is what I specialize in. The same confidence that you're going to say, I'm going to go live on this day, or I'm going to take this workshop and do pre-recorded videos because, oh, Rachel, there's no way I can do it live right now. But that is the next step to be able to get the practice muscles to be able to go live. To be able to go live or to be able to set up a workshop or a webinar is simply because you have that confidence that you know what you're going to talk about. You know the problems you're addressing, and you know that's the solution. I just will say, if you want to take my free advice and advice that I know that worked because it worked for me and everyone else that I have coached or witnessed who has bought the Done For You programs, and they tell me, wow, Rach, you were right. I consistently showed up in my group and did a workshop every week, and people are now personal messaging me. They never even knew that they had this issue. That's what our workshops do. It allows us to show the human side of ourselves. It allows us also to break, I would say, that fear that a lot of people have when they download information, like, oh, well, this is a great guide, and this is a great handout, and this is a great quiz. But if I'm going to really hire this person for $500 a month, $1,500 a month, 333 a month, which is a 1K signature program. If you enroll people for 3 months, they have to know that what you're the talk, that you're walking the walk, that you're walking the walk and you're talking the talk. So let's just say that you specialize in weight loss. That's your niche. Dime a dozen. Everyone I talk to, I specialize in weight loss. And I say right away, as I would say the same thing, I specialize in gut. I specialize in mindset. People will say, this is my niche. And I always say, well, tell me why you're different. Tell me what are the core pillars of your business and what you teach. And they always say, well, I'm a little different of a weight loss coach because I teach my clients how to balance their blood sugar. I teach my clients, self-care habits and letting go of, body shaming. And I teach my clients actually how to meditate and how to balance their chakras. That to me is in that one core teaching pillar. It's this self-care mindset part, because mindset's huge. So is weight loss. So is gut. So it's hormones. But when we can get really specific in what we teach, all of a sudden filling in the holes with what? The right freebie, the right workshop, the right challenge, the right teaching series, all of a sudden it becomes a no-brainer. And so we stop worrying about what content, is this going to work? And we start actually seeing that as we define this so clearly, it's actually, we're never at a lack of what content. We start moving into the mindset of actually a successful wellness professional, a wellpreneur. That person who says, okay, I'm so crystal clear. I'm now going to test all these different topics so I really understand what my person wants. I'm going to watch the engagement. I'm going to see if people are interested in this topic. I'm going to start testing so that when I say, boom, this is my signature program, or these are my signature offers, you know exactly what your ideal client wants. There are a lot of you guys who come and you'll buy all the programs that you need on your site because you're already crystal clear on what separates you. You already know what that process is. Still, the most successful people in any business, because our ideal client changes because of their environment, what's happening in their world. You may be crystal clear on your ideal client. Maybe you did your ideal client avatar work 25 times. You know your niche, but you're not converting. That just means that either you don't have enough visibility or you maybe haven't shown up in the format that your ideal client needs to actually convert. Maybe you're just doing social media post after social media post, but your ideal client needs to not just see you posting and doing some reels and doing your social media posts and have a freebie, but they actually need to see you in action. No matter if you're an introvert, extrovert, everyone's got their own fears of showing up. I would say for most introverts, before we move on to how do you actually do this, for most extroverts, it's harder to go live. But still, if you're going to be networking and pitching your services to build a referral network, you're going to have to learn how to do a workshop. If you are more extroverted and you are excited to do a live, you're excited to do a workshop, you're excited to do a webinar, you're still going to have to start to what? Practice. And what is the best way to practice? Practice with consistency. So our ideal clients say, wow, I saw that coach again. She or he taught on this subject. I never looked at weight loss like this. This one coach specializes in blood sugar, self-care. We said the self-care, the mindset. And they also talk about gut health. Interesting. Or they talk about hormones. Well, we'll say hormones for today because we're going to look at the perimenopause. They talk about hormones. I never looked at weight loss. Like, why would that be my hormone? I mean, I know thyroid, right? That's our common client because they know we live in a world of information, but we rarely have somebody who keeps staying solo focused, teaching their ideal client, polarizing down, which means getting even more specific in your niche, helping your ideal client. I said this to a coach yesterday that had this aha moment after 15 minutes of just talking about her business. I said, your ideal client, it's not that they aren't willing, it's that they are bombarded in life by information you need to demystify. Your ideal client is confused. They may know the information. They may hear all these words, leaky gut, microbiome, estrogen dominance. The list goes on of these words, perimenopause, fertility issues. But do they really understand? No, because they're overwhelmed. They're bombarded with all this information coming in from all these sources that they do trust. So it's our job to show our client back the way, because it's so confusing in the health and wellness world. It's like, do I use this supplement? Do I use this? Do I use this supplement? Do I use this supplement? I heard this information. Is that true? Wait, you're telling me that in order for me to get my blood sugar balance, I have to do this, when they're bombarded by information left and right. So our job is to break down that information. We can't assume our ideal client knows. It's the biggest mistake we all make as coaches. We assume, well, no, my ideal client's going to understand that they're having hormonal issues. It's probably best to be off gluten. Your ideal client may be so busy and overwhelmed in their life, even though they know this information, they've Googled it, they're hearing it, but they haven't really implemented it until you come along. So let's look at a perimenopause workshop. Because what you can do when you have content that you don't have to sit there and go into writer's block or shake in your voice, when you're asking for an opportunity such as being on someone's podcast, or asking if you can do a live in somebody's group that you're, involved with. Speaking to any of those people I mentioned so far. So you actually build your network of people. So you actually get in front of more people, even locally. If you're building locally, you still need to have exercised this part so that people see that teacher part of you, so that they understand that you are going to be showing them a step-by-step path. So let's take perimenopause. Let's just download. For those of you who are mindset coaches, for you who are feelers, empaths, ending, that's one of my favorites right there. Ending perfectionism now. But for today, let's just do this. Let's just take a look at the perimenopause workshop. If you are listening to this later, via YouTube, and you're just listening to this, or you're listening just to the audio, what I'm doing is I'm showing you exactly what our PowerPoints have included in the content to demystify that it isn't as hard as you think. It's going to take confidence and your belief in yourself. That's a mindset and a why issue. That's a self-confidence, or that's a money mindset issue. The content is going to give you the structure that you need. But of course, you're going to need to be able to have that belief in yourself. And we don't just keep overanalyzing. Thank God I didn't do that. I did struggle year 1 and 2 because I didn't have content to build Rachel's Wellness. So I just spent a lot of time having to create content, build workshops, pitch to different local opportunities online. And I started doing videos, but I wish that I would have had content in this structure because it took me a lot of time to do it. So what we're going to look at right now is this slideshow. So you're going to take these action steps so that today you're going to declare, I'm going to do this. I'm going to actually do this live. And you're going to define, number one, the date that you are going to go live. If you want to say that it's 7 days from now, wonderful. Then we can say that on the 19th of January, you are going to go live and you're going to decide, are you going live? Is your ideal client around at 9 in the morning? Do you need to do it 7 o'clock at night? Doesn't have to be long. Do you want to do it Saturday morning? Maybe you don't want to do it on the 19th and you decide that, no, Rach, I'm going to do it on the 10th or I'm going to do it on the 9th. Whatever date, define the date. Then number two is you're going to actually make an event. You can do it on Facebook. If you're people on Facebook, you can do a countdown timer on Instagram. You can start promoting that in your stories with the social media that we already have done. Come to this workshop, or you can go on to one of my favorite applications, WordSwag. So if you are ever just on your phone, you can go right to WordSwag and make an image, which is your promotional image. You don't want to just say, come to this perimenopause workshop. You want to be able to go through each of these slides and take straight from the slide. Instead of me saying and being like everyone else, you're going to be different because this is the gift that we get to give you. You're going to come right in here and not feel overwhelmed because on slide 3, it says what to expect. To gain a clear understanding of perimenopause, to learn the 3 major hormonal changes that occur in perimenopause, expert tips on hormone testing and wellness strategies for hormone health. All of a sudden, I have 3 areas that I am going to promote my workshop, not just saying, come and learn about perimenopause. I'm going to help my ideal client in that 7 days where I'm talking about this theme, because my workshop this week is going to be on perimenopause. I'm going to start actually using the information in the slides to understand what I'm going to be talking about each day. I might even do a mini story. I'm going to take my phone and do a little video or a little reel, or I'm going to do a Facebook story, or maybe you're working on LinkedIn, wherever you're using your wherever you're building because your audience hangs out there, or maybe you're in that first 1 to 1.5 year stages where you're not exactly sure where your audience hangs out. That's why I love repurposing content on every different platform. I don't want you to be sitting on a platform for 5 hours feeling like you have no other time. That doesn't make sense anyway. Most of us have, I know, because I built this business with 2 kids, I had about 1.5 hours a day to get my social media done and to be really smart. So if I was in your shoes, I would hope that you do what I did, which was to take each of these parts and talk about that in a story. Hey guys, I don't know if you're coming this week to a workshop, join this free group. That can be just a link. Join this free group because this is the class of the month, or this is the class this week. You can actually talk about the benefits and not just lead people to that workshop. I see so many people make mistakes. They're like, I don't know why somebody didn't sign up for my challenge. I hired this Facebook ad person, or I don't know why they didn't come to my webinar. Well, you didn't take enough time to let them trust you and understand that you're the expert. So you're going to go through, this is your pre-marketing. You're going to even on your live be able to then go exactly step by step through these slides. So the first steps, as I said, is really go through this and understand, what do I need to talk about before I go live? So it's giving you right here everything you need to talk about so that your pre-marketing and what you're going to say leading to that workshop now is a no-brainer, or leading to that live. Now I want to just show you as you're sitting there. If you're an introvert, guess what? You can do it live, and you're just going to screen share. Free tool, your phone or an iPad, you're just going to screen share. I want you for 1 minute in the beginning, maybe even 30 seconds, to say, hi, my name is, I specialize in the core pillars, the core process I help my client go through is, balancing their blood sugar, understanding how hormones affect weight, and the self-care and the self-love that really needs to happen in our life, and the habits and our mindset tricks and hacks, so we don't overeat, or so we don't binge eat, or so we can start to understand why we have this unexplained weight loss. That's simple. That's your template. Then you're going to turn off the video. I mean, not turn off the video, but you're going to screen share so you're not on the video. And then you're going to take a deep breath while you feel a little nervous, but you're going to do it, because there is not the path to 5-figure months, high 5-figure months, the path to 6 figures without doing this, let alone in the growth and scale phase where we're getting into multiple. It doesn't matter what stage you are in, new, coming back after some time, this is what works. So you're going to go through and you're going to teach this. You can add in extra information. Hey, let me talk about my experience with a pituitary issue. Can insert a small story. I had one. I would talk about that. But if you want to just teach, great. You can just teach it. I'm going to talk about it at regular periods. Going to read off of this and talk about the flow. You're going to talk about estrogen dominance. If you're doing this in live, I suggest that you don't have to make this clearly a 45 to 60 minute class. You could even take them through this at a not as extensive teaching, so that if you did want to do this as a webinar, which is usually a little longer, that can be your more extensive teaching. A live, you want somebody to, of course, personal message you and hire you, but people always ask me, what's the average video time? And I would say it really depends on what your goal is to teach. If it's in a free group, maybe you do want to do a little more intensive teaching, because you want them to understand they should stay there. You're building this great community. You're building that know, like, and trust factor. So off of your free group, people are getting value. To really, in a world where we do have to set ourselves apart differently from everyone else, to build value in these places where people feel like they're home, it's more likely that they're going to share at a more intimate level or let go of their own fears. In a live, you may be doing this on your business page, and maybe you find that people don't, share as much, like, hey, I have irregular periods, or, I have a fertility issue, or I have this, but they are watching. And the beauty is that if you did this live, you can download it, as I mentioned earlier, to YouTube, and all of a sudden that live that you did, even though you may think, well, nobody's watching, but they're not watching, or they're not going there because you haven't told them enough of why they should be there. It's that simple. So you're going to go right through. You're going to teach it. If you wanted it, as I mentioned, to be a longer class, there's not a right or wrong. It's more you really testing to see for your ideal client and your style what you need to be talking about. You can also, and I'm going to show you just a few different options, even for a live. So yes, this is a little longer of a presentation, but very easy to, of course, personalize, very easy to, of course, do it at different time lengths. You can even do a live on a quiz. This is exactly what I was talking about, where in the YouTube description, you can have this quiz. Many people actually use quizzes as Facebook ads. They're great ways to get engagement. And these handouts, give me a second. These handouts can also, if I can open it, open. I wonder if I need to restart my computer. Well, if I can't open it, then we'll wait for later. But you have all these different topics right here. Those can be live topics, guys. You have a lab cheat sheet. These can be live topics. Those in one workshop, you have all these little live topics, and maybe you decide, wow, I'm going to say it. I'm going to do lives on that. I'm going to show people the PowerPoint script. I'm going to take them through, but I'm going to do the longer webinar on X date because I'm leading them to the 21-day hormone detox. Or I'm leading them in a series of little mini webinars, which are teaching my ideal client, my style, my approach. I'm leading them to the blood sugar mastery program because blood sugar is a core pillar. Or maybe you're leading them to the 60-day weight loss. Or maybe you're leading them to the new you weight loss. Or maybe you're hitting a little harder on the hormone weight connection. So right here, you have even these 10 images that are completely done, making it super easy for you to do it. And then we're just going to look at one other one in the hormone modules. Because you can buy these individually or you can buy the whole package and get, I think there's about 100 social media images. It's a little crazy. Right here, a lot of people think these kind of workshops are for memberships. And content's content. If you wanted to have a membership, awesome. If that's in your how you want to build your business. If you wanted to say, I'm going to do a workshop a month, you may even want to look at this and pick and choose so you have Q1 planned out. And you might even want to say Q2 is planned out because then you really start to invest your energy on getting people on discovery calls, building that engagement in a group, helping people to know that you are the expert in this industry because they're seeing you in multiple places, teaching about these core subjects that relate to your niche and of course your content pillars. As I said, niche content pillars, I just taught this in my membership this month and we're diving deeper into it. This is what helps you get super clear so you don't feel overwhelmed, so you know what to post, and that you're taking your ideal client, your potential client through a journey, and also understanding where you have the most engaging posts. So let's look at one, self-care. This could be a workshop, totally done. It feeds into one of my content pillars. Here's your other live, or here's your other workshop, a series of little workshops that are bringing them to the main goal, free to your paid offer. In the nurturing, when we talked about that in the beginning of the ecosystem in the beginning, a lot of people get stuck on this. It doesn't have to be this extensive, crazy email, follow-up. You could even take any of the promotional email series that we have in our programs and use it as a template to lead as a follow-up. You can also keep it really simple. Like, here's your masterclass. Sign up for a one-on-one discovery session. On your thank you page, one follow-up email, maybe another follow-up email talking about the problems that you once had and how you fixed yourself. And the third email, of course, being maybe a testimonial from a friend, a client, or the third email, being like the benefits of working with you. So many different ways, of course, but don't get stuck in that. I had no automation, nothing. I couldn't even figure out how to do the follow-up email. So I did things a lot on the thank you page that my email provider, which was MailChimp. If I did that, you can do it. Meaning you don't have to have it perfect. Right here, you have everything that you're teaching on that topic because your goal is bringing them to your paid offer. Your goal is bringing them to get more discovery calls. If you need 20 discovery calls a month, how are you getting them? They don't just come because you posted and somebody's like, oh, she posted or he posted great info. People sign up with you, they trust you because You consistently are showing up and you're teaching about these solutions. You're addressing the pain. You know their problem. You're understanding what their desired outcome is, but you know that you can't just sell the transformation. You know that you have to actually show them how this is, what that transformation looks like. You have to almost address each of these little problems so your ideal client starts seeing you connecting the dots on all this mistruth or their fears or what they already think they know. It's our job to put the pieces together, because then, boom, the conversion from them being a consumer to an actual buyer isn't as difficult or won't cost you as much money or time and frustration. I'm going to sit there and look at what else. Well, stress fits in that mindset self-care bucket, the pillar. So of course, I would say this would make sense for me to show up and teach this in wherever, lives, on your pay, on your business page. Maybe you decide to use a platform like StreamYard and you're going live in multiple places, and you're also getting a tripod so you go live on Instagram. Even if you didn't use StreamYard, if you have Zoom webinar feature, you're going live to that desired platform. You can go live to Instagram at the same time. If you are not going to go live yet, you are still going to do what? You're going to do these pre-recorded videos and you're going to upload them as stable videos so that you're building your authority in a way that feels comfortable for you. And you're going to exercise more the push-ups so you get good at teaching, using that little intro, and then, showing your face at the end again and just saying, hey guys, if you have any questions or, hop on to my site over at, grab, the quiz, grab this guide on getting your best labs or the labs you need for hormonal health or, et cetera, et cetera. And all of a sudden, et cetera means whatever other opportunities, free, your one-on-one, your low-cost, self-paced course, also known as a do-it-yourself, is housed on your website. All of a sudden, your work is really working for you. Versus what I see right now, where a lot of people are frustrated, overwhelmed, don't know what to do. I want you to have quarter one mapped out. And you can easily, when you declare what you are going to teach, then all of a sudden the overwhelm and the panic starts to go away. This could be like, in 2 weeks, if you decide I'm going to do 2 a month, or as we said, teach on some of those handouts in some of our workshops. You can teach even on a freebie and make it alive. You can take a blog and make it alive, just like I gave as an example. So I'm going to sit there and think, what else would affect my client? I'm going to talk about weight loss and exercise. Would it make sense that after I've taken people through value, and even if people didn't come into my live, because guess what? Most of us showed up when we were the only one liking our post. But we kept showing up consistently because we understood that nothing happens overnight, no miracles, not in our health or our business. Would it make sense that if I had this workshop and I was doing this for the month, that all of a sudden I could talk in social media, or I could start talking about your cortisol body type and how this person wants to come to my free group or wants to sign up on my newsletter list because I'm going to be doing a exclusive masterclass only for my list, or they're going to want to pay. Let's even talk about, the ability to even use this as paid. They want to come to my $50 workshop because they're going to get all this value, and I'm going to do a live Q&A or a $97 masterclass. But for this training, like I said, we're talking list building and nurturing and really becoming the expert and having those actual tools at your fingertips, not just the tools on how do you create a workshop, how do you make a course, how do you make a signature program, but it's you actually having the tools. So when you are in those courses, or you're working with a business coach, or you're working with a content manager, or you're working with a digital marketing team, instead of, oh, well, I think it could be this, you're like, let's test with this. For those of you who are doing lives, how much better is it to boost this video on your business page? What's the potential of you actually being able to get clients doing that? Probably a little more value if somebody's able to hear you go through this, whether they see your face or not. So right here, I'm going to talk about these different types. I'm going to start talking about this information on my personal page even. Guys, I'm putting together this workshop. I wish I would have known about estrogen dominance when I had all these issues, when I was younger, when I birthed my daughter. I wish that I would have known a little more about cortisol. I knew that I had fatigue. I knew that I was told that I had adrenal fatigue. I know that tests came up, but I still feel overwhelmed. That's what your ideal client is thinking. They're overwhelmed. They need you to help them. They need you to show them consistently this next step. We're going to talk about cortisol. Guys, meet me tomorrow, on wherever, meaning, is it an Instagram story? Is it that you're doing a post on LinkedIn? Is it that you're doing, a blog post? Is it that you're meeting people in your free group? Is it that you're actually pitching this to a person for a podcast? Yeah, I'm going to come in and talk about all the different body types, because my ideal client's biggest problem is when they exercise, they gain weight. How many of you had clients like that? I mean, that's a lot of people that I've had. Like, I don't know what's going on. I seem to be gaining weight. I'm exercising. Right away, we know there are these kind of factors. We know, but our biggest problem is we usually have time taking what we know, because there's so much. There's so many different factors. There's so many different problems it could be, and then putting it to concrete information and teaching it. That's what Done For You programs do. And that's what Done For You workshops. That's what freebies do. They give you the structure to teach with confidence. Let me take a breath. My cortisol. So wish I would have known about this. I didn't know about insulin resistance until Mark Hyman was my teacher teaching this. And then I went and bought a book, and I was like, wow, I'm the skinny fat. Wow, I knew I had blood sugar issues. I knew I was hypoglycemic, but I didn't know this part. That's then why I teach this. I teach what's missing in the industry from my client who is struggling in this core niche. I'm going to show them these different aspects of why I became a X wellness professional, why I became a nutritionist or a health coach or an acupuncturist or a chiropractor. It's because this was not taught. That's in the why of our workshops. That's in the why of your signature business. All the different tiers of your offers, low cost offer, mid cost, high. So when we really get clear and we start speaking at that level of confidence and clarity and conviction, our ideal client says, oh my God, I really identify with this person, like their vibe, their personality, and also what they're teaching is mind-blowing. Then, after they've consumed information because they see you consistently, or maybe you're even doing this, you can do this in so many ways. You could do this as a podcast, make the download on your podcast page a free opt-in. Free opt-in to actually get these slides. Guys, there are endless ways to build your list. But again, we're talking about the live to make it easy, to get you out of the place of fear so you do it scared and you do it without perfection. All you need is your phone and a tripod. I'm going to start talking about these issues. And that's just a snippet of why workshops are so powerful. That's just a little glimpse into how powerful it is when you have your workshops planned. You start to understand what your week you're talking about. If you had a workshop a week planned or a workshop a month, you would know that you have to start talking about those elements to address the pain, the symptoms, and the solution is to join you on that webinar. The solution is to join you on that live, or the solution is to come into your free group and actually what? Attend this masterclass, because you are leading them either to a one-on-one opportunity, a low-cost offer, a mid-cost, a higher, or you're actually doing a webinar where you are you're doing that webinar with one of the workshops. You're opening cart to your program. What's great is either way, it allows you to actually start planning like a successful entrepreneur. Because if we just say every day, I don't know what I'm going to talk about, that is not only going to take away from our confidence, it's going to lead us to a lot of confusion, and we're not going to show up cohesively for our client where they say, wow, that presentation, it really blew me away. It really blew me away. The value that this person just gave, I want to get to know this person more. So, as always, yes, this was a little longer of a class, but I heard 5 people ask me this when they dropped a message in yourhealthcoachbiz.com. 5 people just in like a few hour time yesterday. And I was really blown away by how confused many of us, I know I was there too, many of us are, on how do we actually build that know, like, and trust factor. And my job is to help demystify and really tell you the truth of what it took for me to build when I didn't have a team, when I didn't have money for Facebook ads. People always say, how did you build Rachel's Wellness? This is what I did. I did this consistently, and I wish I would have had content back then, because then I wouldn't have had to take time away from my family or my kids or feel as stressed. You're going to feel overwhelmed doing this. It's new and it's scary. We all have those questions and those thoughts. Is someone going to hire me? What are they going to think of me? Am I going to sound stupid? Am I going to fail? I mean, there's about 100 questions that come off. But the thing is that those questions will always be there. They won't be as loud. It's just like when we do trauma work, that trauma is always going to be there, or that like PTSD memory, like those memories are always going to be there, but they're not going to feel like they're choking you. And so that overwhelm is going to be there. But as you do these steps and you start really taking action instead of staying in the overwhelm and the fear, you're gonna put that in your emotional cash register. Like, wow, I did that. And you're gonna feel proud of yourself in these baby steps. And then the next time that you have that consistency, because you showed up despite your fears, and you do another workshop and you learn a little more how to make it even more effective, you just then made another deposit. And that's going to address your money mindset issues. And that's going to address your confidence. And nobody can just tell you you're going to be great at this. You have to do these push-ups to get great, to be great. You have to do what the best do, and that is practice the basics. Master the basics, so that you start to understand how to improve it, and how to improve it to the point where you are closing without even trying to close. That means closing the sale because you believe so deep in your heart that this is the solution. And that is a confidence part. That is something that happens once you try and you keep trying and you keep trying, and you are up against that point where you're like, I've tried everything. I saw this person in my membership have this breakthrough the other day, and she was like, I've been trying so hard to figure this out. I've made myself so crazy. And I just had this moment where I let go. And she let go, and she took the recipes in my Content in a Box membership, and she said to people in her non-existing dead group, hey guys, would anyone be interested in, I forget exactly what she said in speaking to her ideal client, but it was something like, would anyone want really healthy recipes and try to figure out how to help 1, 2, 3, which are her key problems that our ideal client has. And people were like, yes. 2 people bought it full price. And then all of a sudden she had 50 people interested in learning more. It's because we get to a point where we just let go, because we have mastered that consistency, and we stop saying, oh my God, I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know what to post. But we step into that place of confidence where we know what to post. We've been there. Many of us, this was our own story, our own journey. We all remember how bad it was, the ups and downs, the trials, the tribulations. And if it wasn't your own story, you've witnessed it. I witnessed it to the point where you know what you were Googling. You know what you wish was there. You know what you wish was taught. And guess what? That's what you get to become. You get to go back in time and be that coach that you wish you would have had. You get to go back in time and diffuse these myths that are constantly fed left and right, or these mistruths or these misconceptions, because you see this different than any other coach. Nobody is going to be you. Nobody has the same pair of glasses, the same pair of jeans, the same pair of experiences. So with that being said, guys, please tag under any questions. If you want to continue this conversation, come into our free group. This is what we're going to be focusing on this week. And next week, it will be, of course, a shorter one, because I'm going to show you the exact steps to do step by step on how to download a live, upload it to YouTube, and then put that onto a blog with a copy and paste, because it has to be that easy for you to be consistent. If you have any questions about what we do, what Done For You programs are, hit me up at yourhealthcoachbiz.com. If you want to listen to our podcast, go over to rachelafeldman.com/podcast. And lastly is, if you want to come have fun with me on IG, you will see down in the description IG. And if you want to go binge watch YouTube videos, go into the description. And I'll just end with a few questions. Somebody saying, where is my free group? It is on Facebook. I believe in the description under this video on YouTube, you will see an instant click. It says join here for my free group. If you have any questions though, on Facebook, it's learn how to attract your ideal client, learn how to niche your biz and attract your ideal client, or feel free to, of course, tag under where you're seeing this and I will drop a link. Somebody saying, is it even worth studying to be a naturopath, to be a true nutritionist, dietitian? You can have all the knowledge on the earth without the ability to start a business. I will say this, and I will say this with massive love, is starting a business is starting a business. It takes knowing, what are the basic fundamentals of starting a business. It takes researching how to start a business. But I see tons of coaches, wellness professionals, chiropractors, functional medicine, doctors, people who buy from us thriving in their business because they got really clear on who they serve, what they teach. So I actually believe anything can be possible, but you need to have a clear understanding of what you want to build. If you're like, oh, well, I'll go to school for XYZ, then there's not clarity in the path and the vision. If you are coming out of school and you're brand new and we sit in that mindset, like, is it even worth it? Then maybe it's not worth it to you. But if you're really clear, like, this is my why, this is my purpose, this is what I have to teach, there is a different conviction that happens with that, because we understand we will find a way no matter what. There are tons of people in the industry, but they're not you. And so when we really embrace, I am going to start this is who I serve, and we take those necessary steps of business 101 and doing our market research and all those things that we have to do and kind of developing our business, yes, I do think it's worth it. But if a person's really struggling to build a business, I always suggest go and work for a wellness center, go and work in collaboration with a doctor or a chiropractor. Some people, it's harder to build a business. So I always think, to answer that, yeah, anything's possible. I see it left and right. It's just, we have to be extremely clear in our offerings, who we want to serve, and then be willing to do things scared. So it's been an amazing time being with you guys today. If you have any questions, again, we are here. My goal, my why, my commitment is to let you know, yeah, building your dream and going after it is hard. If it was easy, everyone would do it. If dreaming was easy and holding yourself to your goals and your purpose was easy, everyone would have their dream life. It takes work. It takes consistency. And, but it is completely possible. So guys, come into our free group. We're going to be jamming on this all week and breaking, of course, this larger live into some chunk down steps. And it's been a pleasure to roll with you guys today. If you have any questions, let us know.